We were wrong from the very beginning. We tried to classify three-eyed Atlas, to squeeze it into a category, comet, object, phenomenon. But the latest signal from tracking systems did not reveal a new property. It revealed its true nature. Atlas is not an object. It is a process. Not a thing, but an event, stretched over time. And now this event has made a sharp, unambiguous turn, recorded not in pixels, but in the fundamental mechanics of its flight. Today, we stop asking, what is this? Today, we are forced to ask, where is this evolving? And the answer is frightening in its clarity. Imagine the absolute silence of a server room. No telescopes, just the cold light of monitors and silent streams of numbers. It was here, in the world of pure computation, that the first alarm sounded. Observatory equipment from Chile to Japan produced a new package of positional data. The coordinates were flawless, but when fed into the model, the perfect digital copy of solar gravity, the model failed. This is about residuals, those tiny permissible errors, digital dust. Their pattern is to be random, scattered. But last night, this dust suddenly formed into an arrow. All residual vectors synchronously pointed in one new direction. This is not an error margin, it is a signature. The signature of a force not accounted for in the equations. A force emanating from the object itself. Its orbital fingerprint has just changed. Mathematics, the strictest of sciences, recorded the first symptom of the fever raging in Atlas's body. Not a camera, not a spectrograph, but pure algebra declared the object has entered a new dynamic state.
And then, as if following some cosmic script, light began to speak. While some scientists were scrutinizing columns of numbers, others completed the painstaking assembly of a new image, and the frame became a visible embodiment of the digital rebellion. This is not a new detail, it is a morphological shift. The dominant jet, the main axis of activity around which our understanding was built, has visually deviated from its former axis. The inner coma, that bright aura around the nucleus, has lost symmetry. Its brightness center has shifted. Even the large-scale structure of the tail, usually inert, responded with a barely perceptive tightening, a new bend.
Two independent data channels, kinematics, where it's going, and morphology, how it looks, are now shouting in unison. This is unprecedented. One can doubt the interpretation of an image. One can argue about calibration. But when orbital dynamics, described by Newton's laws, and the pattern of luminosity change synchronously, that is no longer an interpretation. It is a statement of physical fact. Atlas isn't just glowing a bit differently. It is moving differently. And the reason for this movement is now visible to the naked eye. To understand the essence of this shift, one must abandon the dirty snowball metaphor. Atlas's nucleus is a planetary body in miniature with its own complex geology. Imagine an iceberg of porous ice riddled with a network of faults, pockets of varying pressure, and lenses of exotic ices. Hypothesis Alpha: tectonic breakthrough. Solar heat is a slow but relentless drill. It may have reached a new isolated chamber of highly volatile ice, example, carbon monoxide. Pressure increased, breached a fragile barrier, and an explosive ejection occurred at a completely new point on the surface. A new vent complex, powerful and directed at a different angle, became the new main engine, physically turning the object. Hypothesis Beta: a neuralgic shift. But perhaps the cause is subtler. Atlas is likely in a state of complex precession, a chaotic tumble. Uneven gas emissions have been applying microscopic torque to it for years. We only observed their external effect, the coma and tail. But inside, titanic work on redistributing the moment of inertia was underway. And now the system may have crossed a critical threshold, snapping its axis of rotation. The vents didn't reopen. The entire globe of the nucleus rotated, changing the projection of all the old vents onto the celestial sphere. This is not a breakthrough, it is an overturning. Reality is most likely a hellish mix of both scenarios. New vents are breaking through on a body that is simultaneously listing like a sinking ship. This creates a positive feedback loop where each shift provokes the next.
And here we arrive at the main point. These shifts are not academic curiosities. They are diagnostic strikes on a tuning fork by which we gauge the structural integrity of the object. The nucleus is a conglomerate of weakly bound debris. Each new active vent complex is a surgical removal of mass, changing the center of gravity and stress distribution throughout the entire body. Each precession is a shaking up of the entire framework of internal stresses. Deformation energy accumulates with no outlet. In this state, the object exists between forms of existence, between whole and disintegrated. History knows precedents in our solar system. Comets that went through a series of such morphokinematic shifts ultimately reached a point of catastrophic disintegration. This is a phase transition, akin to the collapse of an overloaded ice dam.
NASA, in its bulletins, speaks the language of a dispassionate protocol, adjustment of the non-gravitational force vector, refinement of the orbital solution. But their actions, emergency allocations of time on Hubble and the VLT, coordination meetings after hours, that is the language of code red. This is not how one treats a stable object. This is how one treats a unique, evolving, and potentially self-destructing specimen. Three-Eyed Atlas has become an open-air laboratory where the tensile strength of interstellar matter is being tested in real time. Each new shift is an entry in the log of this experiment, which we can neither stop nor control. We are merely spectators, witnessing for the first time in history the fundamental instability of a guest from another star system. The experiment has entered its decisive stage, and the ticking of the clock can now be heard not only in server rooms, but in the very fabric of reality surrounding this lonely, rebellious object.